Yo. So I'm gonna have to grab brownies while I'm making this because I have them in the thing. But I thought in my brain, and I was thinking about how crazy and how whatever it is to feel something different than everyone else is feeling, even though you're in the same spot, technically doing a lot of the same stuff, because going through something. For me, loss, all that stuff. It felt like it felt like it feels like like has always been the case. Like there's not been another thing, but I mean there was a life with me before there was all this stuff. Like that it's only been like 5.5, just under 6 years of my life, and I'm like 24. But there's something to it where it kind of feels as though you gain this perspective. Life kind of just switches. Like there's a whole switch to where it's like you could be doing the exact same stuff, be around the exact same people, A, B, C, all that stuff could be the exact same, but the feeling is so different that it you can't feel as though you're living the same life. I mean, even like it feels like going from like being in something to like watching a movie of it in front of you where you're not in it, but you're in it. It's like watching yourself in a thing versus actually being in the thing. That's kind of what the best way to explain it. Like I've had so just few and far between moments of feeling in this past like nearly 6 years that it's really, really tricky to not feel as though you're like, I don't know how to say, like a robotic or whatever, because when you have a loss or something like that, in that there's this void that creates, that thing is not going to be filled with someone else or something else. Like that's just how that is. But in my case, I've never had anything. There's nothing that's happened in my life that's like gotten above that, or I don't know how to explain it. But like I haven't had any sustained thing that to where I feel stuff that's greater than that, like so that I feel anything. Like if it feels as though there's like this sadness around my life that kind of has, in a lot of ways, dominating it, and it's been a big motivator and stuff like that. But it's like. It's the kind of thing that, like, if I'm in love with someone, I know based on like a little bit of experience, a little bit of experience that I could feel and all that stuff really, really good. But but unless there's something real, you really just go by a lot of your days, and that sadness kind of dominates to the point where it's so overwhelming that it's numb. So you go through your days numb, and a lot of stuff is just based on instincts and God and all that stuff. Versus actual emotions dictating stuff. Like, I mainly just get like, more so like little hints or glimpses or whatever versus anything actual tangible in terms of the feeling department. Like, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of interactions you have with people where I am like on autopilot. I'm like literally like, where you're like smiling or like laughing or doing stuff, but the emotion behind that is complete. Like, I'm talking thousands of these things that. It just kind of, there's just the feeling thing, and I think a lot of it comes down to like not trusting or connecting or not having that kind of thing to where it's like that there's nothing there. That thing is like, it immediately takes my emotions like way out of the picture. Like they're pegged down, and it's as if like I'm like watching like some TV show or something like that versus actually being in life, and that kind of stuff. After a while, after years, after like thousands of times, can make you feel like, holy crud, what the hell is this? Like really questioning a lot of stuff, because there's not really like an answer. You can't like look this stuff up online and be like, oh, I just have to take some oil, I have to do these pills, I just have to do this, and then suddenly I'm whatever. Now you can take pills and stuff, but the only things that I've really seen and the only stuff that really whatever is just to numb you out. And I'm already numb, so why would I do something like that? Like the whole crux of my life, ever since losing someone, has just been numbness. That's really been the everything in my life, and so everything I do is based off of things that are not within the way I feel. They're just kind of like an inkling. They're like an appetizer. They're like a trailer for something. There's never been like the actual thing. The only time I ever had a chance at a thing. Fell wasn't a reciprocated dealio willio, and so that ended up being a thing that was just like flash and can and over. And outside of that, we're talking like nearly 2,000 days of pretty much the same feeling. Now, felt more peace, less anxiety, all this stuff throughout the process. Found things I like, give you purpose, allow you to get some motivation, stuff like that. But damn, it is tricky when the weekends, the weekdays all become one, and nights, mornings, whatever, it all just kind of blends together into a nice little thing. It felt this way crazy in college because of the fact that, for one, there was COVID at the start of that, so that already makes it feel as though it's not real. And then you got the whole dealio willio with like trying to like pay attention or care about classes as they get tougher. Not like crazy tough, but as they get tougher and like feeling nothing, it's like really, really tough. And I think a lot of people going through class, like schooling and stuff like that, post big loss or something like that, they can relate to the fact that how the hell, like, it is tough as hell. Like, I don't know how the hell you pay attention or care enough unless you really like what you're doing or have any passion towards it. Because it's already tough just going through life, just naturally. Like, I mean, we all know, like, if you're not a big fan of school, like, going through it kind of sucks. Unless you have, like, a great group of friends, or even then, it's still tough. Like, you got projects, tests, you got stuff, you got to do it. Like, I mean, it's what prepares you for work. So you hear all the people talking about hating work, it's the same damn near stuff for school. In school, you're in a lot of ways stuck with a lot more people, because in work, I mean, maybe you are, but a lot of times that's probably solo, and you got meetings and stuff like that. Versus school, it's like you get the classes, so you're around like probably like 20, 30 kids at every point, and so it's not exactly a thing like where you can have your own space nearly as much as most work, whatever. It fluctuates, but so if you're in school and stuff like that, it's already tough unless you got a good group, and then even then, whatever. But then you add that to the fact that you're numb and all that stuff. So you're barely, like, in my case, I was barely getting by outside of school on the weekends, on like the times where you're supposed to be enjoying it. I was barely getting by there. So school, I was like checked out. Like, and the dad stuff happened like near the end of my freshman year. So we're talking the rest of freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior, and then we're talking COVID and a little mix of this. I literally, it was so tough for me to care. It was so tough to me to care about really anything, like damn near anything. So for caring about school, it was really tough. And I've seen that lack of care thing, even past school, just kind of keep reiterating itself, because I'm like, you just see it through a lot of people, a lot of BS that's just completely, like, it's just complete BS. Like, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just, people say something, they do another, excuses, like just hollow words. It just sucks. And it's like, if you're gonna lie to someone, like, I'm the numb MFer, like, just shoot it to me straight. Like, if you don't want to do this thing, or if you don't really care that much, just tell me. I really, after you see someone die, you see, like, I see my dad laying there dead. Nothing's really gonna surprise me that much. I mean, some stuff has happened, nothing crazy in the time since, and it's not even remotely close to surprising in a lot of ways, because you're like, well, that's an older version of me dead on a bed and during COVID, so how can I be surprised? And I trying to forget what the hell this the initial of this video thing is, but it just, there's something about the grieving process, something about moving on and stuff like that kind of never stops. So I think a lot of times people move on. Like, a lot of the people outside of that don't really have that much of a connection to whoever that person was or whatever the thing was, they move on. They probably move on within a few days, few hours. Like, think about any time that someone, like a friend of a friend, has had something, or like a family, whatever, like something that you're not really crazy connected to, something like this just happened to them, and think about how you felt, how the whole process was for you in that situation. Likely wasn't that layered unless you had a big connection with them. But in this case, let's just say you're not, whatever. That's kind of how most of the world, like, I mean, it kind of makes you feel like you're like living like a division of your life within your life, because you can't just go back and be normal and do whatever. It's just, you just can't. I couldn't, because I didn't feel anything close to it. So suddenly it's like, you're like, wow, like, dude, it's really tough, because you're like in these situations constantly where you're like around people and you're like, I don't feel the same as you. I don't care about these things. I don't, whatever. And it's just, it allows for like the things that don't matter to really make themselves known, because you see how much stuff is just pure nonsense and how much time we waste on nonsense. But it's only one of those things that you kind of just got to see for yourself, and then you're like, oh, whatever. And then you got to put in the process, like, whatever, put in the work towards like, how do I live a life that doesn't feel like pure nonsense, and how do I surround myself with people that are not just running in circles, telling me one thing and doing another. Easier said than done. Much easier said than done. Much. But yeah, I don't know. All this stuff is just really stuff that I just think about, because I'm like, yeah, the process of grieving, the process of going through loss, something like that, not really something that's like a very communal experience. It feels like a really isolating thing. So anyone out there going through it right now, just know it gets better. Not necessarily that you like start feeling amazing, whatever, and obviously if you find love and all that stuff, that probably could help. But it's more so the process of coming to peace with it and finding your own way through it, and then developing your own life and finding purpose in the process of doing that. That really will make your life feel a lot better little by little. And it's not an easy process. It's one of those processes that you just have to be present, go through day by day, but it's worth it in the end, and that's just something you just have to wait and see. So I love you guys. See you guys soon. Bye.